Optimove, the leader in positionless marketing, frees marketing teams from the limitations of fixed roles, boosting campaign efficiency by 88%. Its positionless marketing platform delivers 3 transformative powers: data power for real-time customer insights, creative power for instant asset creation, and optimization power for self-optimizing campaigns. With Optimove, you can do anything and be everything. Go to optimove.com/total retail to get your first month free when buying Optimove's positionless marketing platform.
Welcome to Total Retail Talks, your podcast channel for retail knowledge.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Total Retail Talks. I'm Joe Keenan, the editor-in-chief of Total Retail. I am here at Shoptalk in Chicago, and I am pleased to be joined on this episode by Debbie Woloshin, who is the Chief Marketing Officer at Stitch Fix. Debbie is going to be speaking here at the show tomorrow, and I'm going to talk to her a little bit about her session, and as well as some of the exciting things to come from Stitch Fix. So, Debbie, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here to share some insights about Stitch Fix and how we approach our service and our relationships with our clients.
So tomorrow you're going to talk on a session, and it's going to be a fireside chat, and you're going to talk a little bit, I believe, about discovery and product discovery. And at a time when algorithms are really driving discovery for so many shoppers, how do you ensure that at Stitch Fix, your creative strategy kind of cuts through that noise and connects with consumers on a human level?
I love that question because we build our narrative and we have a campaign platform called Retail Therapy, which was inspired by the stories that our clients tell us, the insights we get from the data we have, and the feedback we get from the conversations our stylists have with their clients.
And I want to follow up about Retail Therapy because I think it's an interesting concept. Tell me a little bit more about it and what kind of was the inspiration for launching this approach.
Here's what we know. Shopping is broken and it's not really delivering what our clients need and what they want. The satisfaction levels with in-store as well as online shopping are at all-time lows, and our clients are generally stressed out by finding the right fit and finding the right styles. And so Retail Therapy was introduced to shine a light on how Stitch Fix is the solution to what isn't working in traditional shopping, and that how when you bring in the data we have, the intel we get from our clients and the trust they put in us connected to their relationships they have with their stylists, how we're solving for the convenience as well as reducing the stress and the shopping experience. Amongst women, we have seen great response from the Retail Therapy campaign as well. What we've seen is that 89% of our clients feel that this is an appealing service, and 85% feel that it's relevant to their lifestyle. That relevance score is the highest score we have ever received to date, really indicating to us that this is really resonating, it's breaking through, and it's meaningful not just to our clients, but to our prospects.
So this platform is reliant on real customer stories. Tell us a little bit about how you're connecting and kind of getting that feedback from your customers. Obviously, there's reviews and other ways, and I'm sure your customer service people and just kind of general feedback you're getting. Tell us a little bit about the different ways you're connecting with the customer to get that honest feedback.
We have a number of ways that we get information from our clients. We listen from a social perspective. We have a robust panel from a client insights perspective. We field surveys. We have communities. And then there is the dialogue between our clients and our stylists, as well as the data associated with how our clients are navigating our experience and what they're keeping and what they're sending back and what they're sharing with us in terms of why they're sending it back or why they kept it and what they need next. So Retail Therapy is inspired by those stories. And when we bring the cast to life in this fictional group therapy session, we tell stories about people who buy their clothes where they buy their groceries because they don't have time, or a mom who just had kids who doesn't have time to go to the mall because she can't even go to the bathroom by herself. And these are really rooted in very relatable stories that people can understand and apply to their own lives. And then bringing Stitch Fix as the solution is like a really nice conclusion to that narrative.
And for what you're telling me, Debbie, it sounds like really the authenticity of what you're getting back is key to serving the stories and then obviously curating product that kind of aligns with what your customers are telling you?
Yeah, I would say that's 100% true. When we were launched in 2011, we were built on AI and data insights. So we have billions of data points. We have incredible intel from our stylists and from our clients. And then we obviously look outside to see what the trends are from a merchandising perspective and also make sure that we have the right tools to facilitate that two-way dialogue and make sure that we're really understanding and delivering on what our clients' needs. As an extension of retail therapy, we launched a series called Unscripted, where we invited our clients and our stylists to tell their stories. And the stories we heard were, as you stated, incredibly authentic, incredibly heartwarming. We had one client tell us that she's been a Stitch Fix client for 10 years, that her stylist, the same stylist, took her on a breast cancer journey, where as she was going through her treatment and recovering, she really had different fit and style needs, and that she had the support of Stitch Fix to take her through. And those kinds of stories and those kinds of relationships are what differentiates us from any other experience out there.
Yeah, that connection that you can then create, it engenders the loyalty that all retailers are after. So we've talked about some of the great content that you're producing for the retail therapy campaigns. One thing we didn't address is the channels in which you're distributing that content to your audiences. Maybe tell us a little bit about where you're finding engagement with your customers and where you're publishing this content.
So we like to go where our clients are and meet them where they are. And where they're spending a lot of their time is on social. So in Facebook and Instagram, some TV and streaming channels, as well as some small tests on Reddit and dating apps and testing into out of home. And what we're really seeing is that showing up in those channels where our clients are spending their time and digesting information and showing up with messaging where our clients can really see themselves and really have this content resonate with them is a great way to tell the Stitch Fix story and provide, the level of detail associated with the personal and personalized service that we deliver.
In your role as CMO, I want to get your perspective on thinking about short-term performance goals versus some of these more long-term brand storytelling, retail therapy probably being an example of that brand storytelling that's going to drive engagement and hopefully kind of create that pipeline to eventually transaction.
Yeah. So we have a lot of different methods for doing that. One of the things that we've seen, another extension off the retail therapy, sort of like TV and OT part of the campaign, is our influencer storytelling. And we work with lots of different types of influencers. We work with, someone named Emily Bondi, who's been on her maternity journey while she was pregnant and then after pregnancy with us. So that's one way where we see tremendous engagement and we get great traction. Additionally, we are able to personalize as well as scale messaging in CRM. And we do a really great job from a category perspective as well as from a needs perspective, tapping into what we know our clients want from us. What they really need from us is they need us to do it for them. They need to make sure that their fit is flattering and they want outfits and they want to feel good about that. And so using those different avenues as well as performance marketing, where we see that we're getting great efficiency because the narrative is engaging and relatable, is how we're really sort of optimizing that mix.
What you've touched upon is personalizing that experience and how that's core to the value prop that you're offering. How do you and your team kind of optimize the creative content that you're producing to reflect that individual preference of the client, but also doing that across a broad customer base, right? And trying to scale at the same time. So tell us a little bit about kind of the balance that needs to be in place there.
Yeah. We know a lot from a psychographic perspective about what our clients need and want. We've done a lot of research to understand their top 3 needs they have from us. And then we have some really robust information about what they're searching for and what they're asking for. So for instance, we know that 1 in 12 people are on GLP-1 drugs right now. And so we know that there's a lot of people who need help with that transformation. And, we are tailoring our content in terms of how we're telling our stories through CRM, how we're partnering with the right influencers to make sure that we're tapping into that particular need.
How do you collaborate with, as you're collecting this data about your customers, with others within the organization? I'm particularly thinking about sort of the merchant team, right? So that's got to be a continual conversation as you're learning more about it. And then, because they're working so closely on the styling, relationship. So maybe talk a little bit about that.
It's an incredibly tight, close, regular agile partnership. We have more than 450 brands. That's a combination of national brands as well as private label brands. We serve a lot of different lifestyle needs. And so we're always iterating on where we're going to go for our male and our female audiences because it's a little bit different, where we have opportunity to serve our clients better. Maybe they're not participating as much in like the accessory and footwear businesses, when we have the opportunity to completely wardrobe people. And so those stories tied to what's happening seasonally, as well as a new element for us called theme fixes, really taps into how we can storytell and how we can deliver, for instance, what our client needs when they have a new job or they're starting a new season and they want their look to be appropriately, tailored for the office.
You mentioned something in that answer that kind of sparked a question in my head. You mentioned the male customer as well. When I think of Stitch Fix, I always thought it was targeted to a female demographic. As you think about the men's business, what is to come from Stitch Fix? What are the opportunity you see in that market?
So we have a lot of opportunity in that market. And the number one thing that our men's client comes to us for is convenience. They don't want to do it. They don't have the time and they don't have the knowledge. And even if they have someone at home who votes up or down on their look, they sort of want that their own agency. What we have seen from the retail therapy messaging specifically is that it resonates so profoundly strong with our men's audience. We have seen scores of 95%. This is a convenient way for me to shop. And 90%, that looks fun. I would like to try it. And so what we're seeing is great motivation from a men's client acquisition perspective and great engagement within our existing client base to participate more broadly in the experience outside of just the stylist and client relationship, also shopping with agency across the experience.
I want to take it back to the retail therapy platform for a minute. As you're using that as a means for sharing content and creating those brand storytelling opportunities for Stitch Fix, you're creating connection with your customers. Tell us a little bit about how that could potentially influence loyalty, as it's not just the acquisition, but getting them to come back and shop again and again with Stitch Fix. How is kind of that emotional connection through content being created?
I think that there's a lot going on in the world right now. And so we're not trying to shout the loudest. We're trying to shout with the most meaning. And what we've created in retail therapy is a two-way dialogue that really shows that we understand what our clients go through every day. They have to make 35,000 decisions from the time they wake up till the time they put their head on the pillow. They can't figure out what they're going to wear to a business meeting, let alone what they're going to pack for a business trip. And so how can we take the stress out of that and think about how they're calculating how they're going to use their time, and that when Stitch Fix becomes part of that equation, the stress goes away and the solution is there.
I think it would be interesting if, Debbie, you had some real world examples. We've talked about some of the content that could really drive home the value that these retail therapy campaigns are sharing.
Yeah. So as an incredibly client-centric brand, we get a lot of information and feedback from our clients, and they tell us stories about how they're using our service and why it's really changing their lives. And so I have just a few examples I'd love to share with you. So there's David, and he's from Chicago. Amazing, right? Here we are. And he's been with Stitch Fix since 2017, wore clothing that was ill-fitting and messy. And since his journey with Stitch Fix, 90% of his closet is from Stitch Fix, and he gets compliments on his outfits. And so he's really excited that he participated in the service and is now a loyal member. Another example is Kenzie from Ohio. And she is a new mom and is looking to figure out how to rediscover her, post-baby style and fit. And so she comes to us for that regular support. And it's going really well because she also doesn't have time to shop on her own. And then last is Chris from Kansas. And Chris lives 2.5 hours away from any real shopping. So when she goes out, it's a 5-hour excursion for her. And if she comes home empty-handed, that's a whole day wasted. So we help her so that she doesn't have to waste that day. We take the time and put it back in her hands. We give her the convenience and we give her the looks that she needs.
And then we haven't yet talked a little bit about some of the automation that is part of the process and kind of the evolving consumer expectation for, ease of convenience, speed. What are some of the lessons that you've learned from your customers at Stitch Fix that might be transferable to other retailers that are listening in the audience?
I think there's a couple things that we have in place that are really facilitating the relationship and making the service more beneficial. So we have things in place where our stylists and our clients can connect over text, and we can provide them with tips and tricks and feedback. We have a conversational tool where if our clients don't have the right way to ask a question, we provide them with a prompt so that they don't feel lost and they know that they're going to get the help they need because we're helping them ask the question. We have a new visualization tool where you can upload an image of yourself and see yourself in a head-to-toe outfit that was styled for you based on your data. And so what we're really doing is putting together a suite of tools that will help not just the relationship, but like the end result of our clients having what they need from us.
Great. Well, I want to take the opportunity to thank Debbie Woloshin, the Chief Marketing Officer at Stitch Fix, for joining me here at Shop Talk. Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you. It was great talking with you and meeting you.
Thanks for listening. For more information on this podcast, please check out our podcast channel page at mytotalretail.com/podcasts for show notes. Total Retail Talks is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and Spotify. Make sure to subscribe on our podcast channel page as well. If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a few moments to rate and review this podcast. Thanks, and until next time, this has been Total Retail Talks.
Optimove, the leader in positionless marketing, empowers marketers to instantly deliver real-time personalization. Boosting campaign efficiency by 88%, it allows marketers to do anything and be everything. Go to optimove.com/total retail to get your first month free when buying Optimove's positionless marketing platform.